Weird experience to have a cool and humid day, especially in the middle of June. GPS just kicked in. I've been sitting outside for a long time. Might be going out. You know what I should have done was take the battery pack out of this thing, and I mean take the external battery off of here and try to run this thing in this temperature. See if it would overheat. There's foam. Is that foam? Looks like foam. And I love the percussion scheme in that song. It goes all over the place. That's what I love about Busta Rhymes songs, is I never was bored. guy's got balls, I give him that. Just doesn't have brains to go with it. Well, at least we know the sprinkler system works. A little too well, but it works. And the funny thing is, they got somebody riding their bike through it. Twerp. Loving it. It's a perfect night for it. Because it does feel pretty good. See, this is what the pros do. Take notes. Look at that. Construction barrier. Make sure that nothing gets out and nothing gets in. Erosion control barrier. This is what professional developers do. Ain't gonna get any sand and stuff tracking the street. I don't get that on where I live. I get these idiot fly-by-nights trying to tear down a house with a bobcat, whacking away at it all day, putting dust everywhere. Either that or somebody put in a construction site complaint. See, these people over here will do it in a heartbeat. Where I live, they don't do shit, which is why they have no right to complain. That's what this feels like. It's so humid. Feels like a midnight swim. So all these dingbats do their sprinklers at the same time. And of course there'd be an asshole coming by while I'm checking to see why the sprinkler head is producing so much. There's always an asshole coming by. So yeah, this sprinkler head's busted. fact, it's broken clean off. It's just spraying water into the air. Huh. This one's kind of bad too, but oh, that's done what it's supposed to. That one's just broke clean off. Oh well. Alright, it was leaning, wasn't it? Oh no. I can't remember what this is. I just know that he starts playing the flute. It's a beautiful arrangement. And I can't remember if it came out of Chrono Trigger or not. I don't think it did. It's a video game song composed by an internet guy that not Insane in the Rain, but on his own little level that's pretty good. And I wish, you know what, I got the thing. Let me, maybe his name's on here. Oh no, this is the Chrono Cross soundtrack. I think this is the one that Square Enix had commissioned an entire team to make. I never got to play Chrono Cross. Like, I was out of the RPG game after Final Fantasy VII. I dabbled in that Final Fantasy VII. Everyone else makes time for these things. I'm always running around. I'm going to school, trying to find a job, exercising. Spent my entire young adult life becoming this. It's not that I regret it. I just wish there was more time. Missed out on a lot of movies. I don't get a lot of pop culture references. And yet when there's something you need, I'm the guy you come to for the practical matters. What do I do about this? You call this guy, you call that guy. I became that guy. The repository of knowledge at the sacrifice of keeping up with the times. I think this is just the guy doing it on the piano. There's another version of this, and it sounds like a Polish mazurka. The guy's playing the flute, and the other guy's playing something else, and the guitar, and playing the piano. I was like, man, this sounds great. Once again, I never played Chrono Cross. I don't even think the Chrono Cross was a 16-bit game. I think it strictly came out on the PlayStation. I mean, Square Enix was hitting with a lot of good stuff. Everybody, I mean, that whole era, they had, wait a minute, we got 32 bits, a disc with unlimited, at the time seemed like unlimited space, and they went all out. Legends of Dragoon, Star Ocean, great soundtrack. I haven't bothered to look for it yet, but 4 discs. Final Fantasy was 3 discs, maybe 4. Lundria, Gears, what was the name of it? What was the name of that game? Something Gears, which was a robot RPG. I think Chrono Cross was only 1 disc. They still crammed a lot on 1 disc. Wise. I got Wise. I didn't know there was Wise 2 and 3. I was like, all right, well, I'm sorry. I have no idea what it's like to play Final Fantasy now, but I imagine you got to have like an entire hard drive dedicated to it. I think they just made it an online game now, though. They said no original stories. We're just going to have a MMORPG. I never played Warcraft. had people tell me about it. All that stuff. I never played any of that. I never played Dark Souls. I watched people play it though. I'm not alone in that. I've watched. There was an article about it, and there's people on Reddit talk about it. It's like I have more satisfaction watching people play than actually. And that's me. I'll watch a game and I was like, I don't play it. You know, the latest Resident Evil was a Resident Evil Village, and I spent more time watching the cutscenes than somebody had turned into a movie. I got into it for the wrong reasons, just like everybody else. Lady Dimitrescu. I just love thick women. She's the thickest, man. 12 feet tall and built like Mae West. Kind of wonder if Mae West was the first Pog. I gotta say, I kind of love it. Like I said, that's what I hated about growing up in the 80s and 90s. Is those were not Pog decades. And then right around 2000, Him magazine did a article on Vita Guerra, and men just lost their minds. They were just like, why have you guys not shown us this before? I'm like, what do you think y'all like that kind of stuff? Sir Mix-a-Lot. And there were just all these guys that says, yes, I've been a closet Pog my whole life, you know, a Pog lover my whole life. Women spending all that money on diets and exercise sessions to try to look like a beanpole. And now it's gone the other direction. I live in an era with anorexic men and weather girls. This will be nice, call them weather girls. People say curvy. Yeah, curvy like a globe. And I speak of somebody who was that big, who's still pretty big in. And that is, no matter how much you try to tell somebody you know, be body positive, I was like, you can't. Being that weight is miserable. Clothes don't fit right. Try to sleep at night and you choke. Carrying all that stuff, all that weight around. Not a good time. A lot of problems is we made the food too good and the work too easy. Your ancestors were sitting there eating meat that was filled with maggots and parasites, fruit that was pretty much rotten, and wheat was unheard of. And I'm not saying that people should go back to that existence, but I doubt you're going to find very many fat cavemen. First, you're not going to find any blind cavemen. You're not going to find any lame cavemen. You couldn't get up and hunt with a herd. You were, man, that must have sucked to live in those cruel times. Teeth falling out by the time you're 20. Just 300 years ago, people talk about George Washington, and they got him up there on the horse looking all glowing and fit. And the real story of George Washington was missing teeth, pockmarked, had a myriad of health issues, survived a lot of childhood diseases and grown-up diseases. I think he had scarlet fever, smallpox, measles. At the time of his death, he was suffering from an ailment. I forget which one it was, but they bled him to death. They just thought he had an imbalance of humors. We've had presidents of the United States bleed to death penniless. Let that run through your mind. That's the crazy thing to think about. There was the guys who got the country through its initial stages, made it to where it's pretty much stable, had a good army. Not a great army, but a good army. Made a lot of men rich and died penniless. No president will ever die penniless again. Not just because of the pension system that we all puff our chest out. They don't need the pension system. You know, you want to save some taxpayer funds, stop giving out presidential pensions, because our system is so greedy and corrupt. They don't need it. They were getting all sorts of tips when they were in office. People were giving them campaign contributions to get out of office. Those campaign contributions don't just go away. They got people building presidential libraries to them. They do speaking tours. They write books. These guys are not hurting for money. So, you know, you want to be all fiscally conservative, cut the pension. I wonder what Bill Clinton does with his presidential pension. Does he actually just cash that check and like say, hell no, I earned that money? Or is he like, I'm just going to give it away to charity? I've got enough of my residual book deals and kickbacks from all my different foundations that I'm very comfortable. Plus, I'm pretty sure that Clinton owns a lot of property. Barack Obama will never go broke. I wonder if Jimmy Carter was the only guy that was just drawing a pension. I don't know how much he was making. How much was he worth? Might have been a tidy sum. That dog is always awake. That's the whole point. This guy is pretty selfish anyway. You look at they've had this for decades. They don't really keep it up. They don't trim it right. And I don't really, it doesn't bother me too much because I can get by. But I imagine it could be kind of harrowing for somebody who's, like I said, disabled. That dog's getting up there in years. You can see the gray around his muzzle. He don't move like he used to. Hell, I don't move like I used to. Well, the guy I was watching news. I watch all these random new YouTube videos that give me information about text things. And the one guy was pointing out purple lights, and how if you see a bunch of those around somewhere, it usually admit that they were buying those LEDs when they first came out and they were substandard, and the laminate was coming off of the bulbs. And they're the new high sodium lights, or they were high sodium light, the LED lights, and the laminate came off of them, and so they just started displaying in blue light, slightly violet. Some places don't have the money to get them fixed, and so there's sections in the city where you're going to have purple light. They got them from a manufacturer that was cutting corners, and apparently there's a lot of these things around. I don't believe I've seen them in Dallas. Dallas kind of missed that trend. Like, that's kind of the good thing about Dallas being late to the party is we've always had sodium lights. Now these are probably the high efficiency sodiums. And they look like they got the warm glow. They might be LEDs. To my dismay, I call in these street light tickets and I'm thinking they're going to replace them with, you know, some more sodium lights or fix the sodium light, and they just swapped out these bright LEDs. And if anybody in the neighborhood was upset by that, I apologize. I really do. That was not my intention. I didn't know they were going to put these up. But at the same time, if they are bugging you, please say something. And I wish they'd let me know. Maybe like a gentle knock at my door, not someone throwing a brick through the window. Man, I really want to take that. That's in my wheelhouse. So somebody had on a reflective vest and then left that drink and the thing down there. Why don't you pick up trash anymore? I got tired of carrying it long distances and trying to throw it away. It's time. Time is the answer. This is going to be a 2-hour walk by the time I finish. Back when I was picking up trash, it would have been a 3-hour walk. Doing this kind of feels like a part-time job now. Just calling in tickets, which I haven't done in a couple of... I had a streak. I had a couple of weeks where I didn't call in a ticket because I had other things invading my life. The camera was going out. Work got busy, so I couldn't catch up. I've been behind, and I don't think I'm ever going to catch up. I haven't put up a proper video since the 22nd of May, and here we are almost. We're about 11 days away from it being 30 days since then. By the time I put these, and the description notes are really more for me than they're for anyone else. Sometimes I've had to backtrack, and I was like, what day did that happen on? And if I've got a description, I can sit there and just type in the, it's the cool thing when you look at your videos, you just put down description that contains. And so you're looking for that key word. So you're looking for that key word. Like with dog attack, it'll be dog attack. So I had to put that in the title so that I could find it later on. And it's like, what happened? Let me show you. That video took some time. I had to sit there and cut out a bunch of junk. Not junk, but important stuff. Like what you don't see, what most people won't see is, while I'm sitting there talking to the fire department guy, that dog came off the porch and chased someone else who was just trying to see what was going on at the scene with me. The guy was walking his dog, and the dog came off the porch and went to chase him. And the fire department guy was looking at that. He said, "Yeah, we're not going over there. That's an aggressive dog." I was like, okay. Weird thing, I think, is my blood has gotten so dull and old that I didn't really pump out a lot of adrenaline. You see me grabbing the thing and trying to hit the spray, but for the most part, I was somewhat calm. I think maybe I've got low testosterone. I just don't get jazzed up anymore. No, all these people are watering their grass at midnight. Although now it's 1:22. I wonder if I'll get a workout in before the guys come to flush my hot water heater. I mean, that's how boring my life is. I schedule hot water heater flush every year. And it becomes the highlight of a day. Gotta clean out the drain, take out the recyclables and the garbage, and then get the guys to flush the hot water heater. I've done it a few times myself. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm worried about breaking it. Basically, you just waste a lot of water. You flush it out, the stuff that's in there, run another thing through it, run it out there again, and then you get a fresh tank. My gas bill is going to go up, my water bill is going to go up because of that. But at least the hot water heater will start heating evenly. A lot of times I don't have a hose. The time, and sometimes I don't know how to restart my hot water heater. Lost the manual to memory. I mean to the ether. So I say to myself, you know, I make enough money, I can pay somebody to do it. I overslept today. The reason I'm starting late is because I was in the ER last night. Waiting to get, I went at 1 o'clock in the morning because I thought, well, there's probably not going to be that many people there. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get how the ER can be packed at 1 o'clock in the morning. People just sitting around there looking miserable. 2 hours later, they bring me into the thing. 2 hours pass after that. The guy administers the shot. I got out of there around 7:30, 7 a.m. So it's been about 6 hours in the ER waiting to get a rabies shot. And the physician determined, he says, yeah, you don't need the post-exposure one. He said, we really kind of reserve that for bats and like I said, skunks. He said, yeah, stuff like that. He said, you got bit by a dog, we know the dog's in custody. We'll wait and see. Got a call back from animal control. They said, yeah, we got him. He says, we're going to hold him until the 16th. I was like, okay. I just got him in there for observation. It's an imprecise science, but at least we'll know if the dog was actively rabid in that 10-day period. The people who possibly own the dog or the property that it was in front of have not heard. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody said anything to me. That was the other thing that gets missing in the cuts, is that nobody came out. I said, well, maybe nobody's living there. And I talked to one of my neighbors, and they said, no, there's somebody that lives there. I know they talk amongst themselves. Fernando's is just gone. I mean, they even took the logo. Everything is gone. I haven't even checked over there, but that's because the people who own this area, they're like I said, they're a bunch of greedy fatheads. Went up on the rent. How long do you think it'll be before? Debating whether I want to go down Shorecrest or go all the way to Lovers. If I go down Shorecrest, there's not going to be any cops. I mean, I don't know that there's not going to be any cops. The last thing I want to do is be in a residential neighborhood at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then something happens in there, and I was walking, just had to be walking through, and I get accused. But I wonder if the idiot that owns all of this property loses it, what else would they put here? I guess they'll be okay as long as they got, well, I say they'll be okay as long as they got the Central Market. You wonder how many bonuses and tax breaks they're giving to that business over there. I've been in there a few times to buy groceries, and I went in there to buy beer. I was looking for vermouth too. Gonna make martinis. I never bought the food because it was just ridiculously expensive.
Wait.
And I don't really need fancy gourmet cheeses and salmon. I don't drink coffee. So it's kind of weird to me when people talk about that. He's like, man, we need to put another coffee bar, another coffee bar, coffee bar, coffee bar, coffee bar. And I just don't get it. There's people, man, that coffee is a religious experience. And so there must be over 100 different ways to prepare coffee. But there are only so many coffee bars. And I say I don't know what that's all about, but when they were planning the revolution, at least this is what I think, can't remember where I read this or heard it, possibly heard it, saw it on a video. But during the American Revolution, when they were plotting this thing, they were plotting it in coffee houses. So where's the good duct tape? They weren't drinking tea, they were drinking coffee. Were they drinking coffee because of the tea tax? That's not good. Call it in. Yeah. I hate putting tickets in on those because it's not just straightforward. You can't just say water meter cover off. You put it in as like water leak and they say, are you the owner? It's like, no, just a concerned citizen. That's what I hate about water issues. It's always, are you the owner? Well, then don't worry about it. And I was like, I do worry about it. The main, the cover is open. The water's leaking all over the street. I think I'm just gonna go down Shorecrest, take my chances. If something pops off and just be like, so you think I stole something from you, dressed in reflective gear with lights ablazing and 2 cameras? I must be the world's dumbest thief. Or the boldest. It takes balls to rob to steal stuff when you're dressed up like a Christmas tree. Well, at least I know the dog wasn't a werewolf. I wouldn't have had much time to prepare, would I? I was looking up there at the full moon. I guess they bite you a week before. I'm sure there's a movie or comic book coming about that. Werewolf Geek. Yeah, I didn't get out of there till 7 o'clock this morning. Then I had to get my workout in. That took a couple hours. And then I was trying to catch up on all the stuff that I couldn't get last night because it was in the ER. The only bonus that came out of that was I was able to catch up on a lot of YouTube videos. Little things like this that you don't get to see when you're looking around during the day. Orb weaver spider. I used to be scared of them, and now I've been watching nothing but YouTube videos where people have pet spiders. It's the, what is it, the jumping spider? They're cute little curious critters, and they look like, I don't know if they're terrified, but all I know is they crawl all over the people that take care of them. And they go out there and they move their hands and they do all the little stuff. And I was like, I didn't know you can domesticate a spider, but okay. Or at least, what I'm more saying is, I can't believe that spiders can get used to humans. I'm used to the bite first and ask questions later types. Not worried about coyotes. You know, the funny thing is, at this point, now that I've got the first rabies shot and I'm going to be getting the next two, no, I'm not worried anymore. They'd be like, oh man, did he bite you? I was like, yeah. You going to get a rabies shot? I was like, I already had it. I was like, when was the last time? About 2 weeks ago. Oh man, I gotta call this in. This is all city property. So I already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna say, hey, overgrown vegetation, 2500. I forgot what the address is over here, but this is all part of the 3700 Shorecrest on the Midway side. Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Young. We'll put in a mow request. Oh, you know what, Mr. Young? We don't handle that. That's the city parks. We'll give it to city parks. Parks looks at it and they say, oh, you know, we don't really handle that. Yeah, we're gonna send that over to private property owner. I was like, you guys do own the property. And this circle jerk that they go through, and so then I have to sit there and jump on ass, and I'm like, hey, not actually talking to my city council rep, but the assistant to the city council rep. That's how far down the rung I am. And then the next thing you know, a month later, someone finally mows it. I just think it's crazy that there's some things that I've been doing in year one. It takes months to get the parks people to do anything. I can get lights done in about 2 weeks. That's the longest. I can get street repairs in about a month or two. Sometimes I can get even quicker than that. Code, you know, maybe 1 or 2 days. They're on it. But parks, oh my God. Parks acts like I asked them for their left kidney. Well, it's going to take me some time to think about this. Are you sure you need it? I was like, there's a big pile of trash blocking the path that everybody has to walk around. Yes, I think we need it. Yeah, the other thing I didn't think about is as I'm sitting here walking through here like this, I was worried about the cops and I was worried about someone accusing me of something. I could very easily get shot. But I mean, this is a pretty liberal, surprisingly, there's a lot of rich people here, but they're somewhat liberal. Doesn't mean they don't own guns, it just means that they're not trigger happy. They're not the conservative guy who's been just waiting for this day and he comes out with tactical gear and starts yelling, hey boy, what you doing down here? And just showing all the ignorant colors. The ignorant local color. In other words, the shoot first and ask questions later types. I caught a prowler. A prowler wearing a reflective vest, lights, and 2 cameras. An unarmed prowler. That was one of the weird things, is as I was researching about if you can sue somebody for dog bites, prove negligence. They were saying that technically in just about every state you could be sued. If your dog bites an intruder into your home, you can actually still get sued. The intruder can file a dangerous dog claim. My case runs around the premise: did I agitate the dog? Did the dog show a history of being aggressive before? And was there injury to the victim? I have never seen that dog before, unfortunately, and I don't know. Maybe I've heard him before. Like I said, maybe he got loose from the fence. Don't get it wrong, if you look at my videos in the past, you'll see that there's a lot of loose dogs in that neighborhood. And I've had to deal with it. I've put in quite a few calls. But I don't recall ever seeing that one. Maybe I did and I just put him out of my mind. He was aggressive on Friday. I think the people on that street ought to be lucky that it was me and not, you know what makes me think that it might have happened before? So I didn't see anybody at the house, and I looked around other houses and you would see like mail coming out of the mailbox. It looked like it had been there a while. And in that house it looked like no one's there, but there was no mail in the box. So it's very possible that they don't get their mail delivered there because of this. The dog might have attacked the mailman at one point, who knows? And, you know, it's funny, I always feel like, well, maybe this is overkill. And it's like, no. Because I remember when in my neighborhood, my neighbor, she couldn't get her mail delivered because she had mouthed off to the police, to the mail carrier, and the mail carrier said, well, you need to contain, they had a big dog at one point. And so you need to contain that dog. She said, I've been bit by a dog like that before. My neighbor, in her usual attack, cussed out the mail carrier, so they weren't getting mail for like two or 3 months. The mail carrier can get away with that. Like, I'm the reason they wrote the rule. A lot of times when something happens, I'm the reason they wrote the rule. The testing ground. I can't believe they're still putting this up. I haven't been here in a month, and I thought at least I would see foundation poured and the thing up. Holy cow, not the only SOB out here at this night. Howdy.
Hello.
Wow. Suddenly I don't feel so foolish. Of course, there's a story there. Where was he coming from? Well, let's see. My guess is he probably came from the cockpit. Either came from the cockpit or he's a homeless guy that was wandering through, but he didn't look like a homeless guy. He had his shirt off. So he looked like he'd just been tying off a few. And bar's closing up in 15. I guess he had had enough, or they told him, it's like, no, we're cutting you off. It's time for you to go. Or he just didn't have any money. Last call. But usually those guys, they stick around and, well, and I'm basing it off of movies. Bottom line, this time of night with the shirt off, looking kind of miffed at me, I look like a barfly. So that's how I know that I have no business being out here. Well, my only company is somebody who probably shouldn't be out here either. Well, my plan was to walk 7 miles today or tomorrow, and the rains have been fucking up those plans. And the ground here, as you can see, is kind of wet, so the Bachman branch is going to look even worse than this. I've been trying to get back there so I can get some footage for the Bachman Lake, the Friends of Bachman Lake, and the weather has not been cooperating. The humidity reading was 79%, and this feels like every bit of it. Do I have any? Yeah, well, no sweat, because I'm not getting hot enough to sweat. And I feel pretty stupid because I got the external battery still plugged into the GoPro, and I should have popped the battery in and just put the door on and got a good test of how much, you know, how much of a charge I can get off of one battery. Tomorrow was supposed to be a test of my Insta360. The guy was asking me to get some footage of Bachman Lake. That might be difficult to do in the pouring rain. Now Insta360, they sit there and they brag that, you know, oh, you can dunk our thing in water. I was like, okay, we're gonna test that. As bad as I think it is working with 4K video, man, I'm really not looking forward to working with 4K video on the Insta360. I think that file is going to be at least 50 gigs. I don't think I'm going to make an uncut version of, like, I have 2 versions that I make. I make one for myself, and then I make one for everyone on YouTube to watch. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think it's just going to be body cam, and that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on my shipment from China, and I don't think I'm going to get it, but it's a external camera that you can plug into the body cam. I'll clip it on the glasses or clip it on the helmet, and that way I'm not limited to just what's happening in front of me with, or in other words, when I turn my head, it'll see what I see. And at that point, I'm going to stop making the videos that are just both camera footages smashed together. And this method I use has been very helpful. I mean, like I said, it's paid dividends so far. It helped me with the dog bite thing. It's helped me a couple times with other issues because I get a timestamp on it, which is ridiculous because that's the one thing that action cameras can't be used for. Action cameras can't be used for is gathering evidence, because the footage could look like it could just come from anywhere. I mean, I know the EXIF data will tell you, you know, this was the time and the date, but I mean, the body cam was just made for evidence gathering. It doesn't look pretty. This camera boasts that it's got a 2K, you know, 2K resolution, and it doesn't look any way like 2K. It's very washed out, just blah looking. I filmed in 2K with it. It doesn't have the fish lens. It doesn't have motion control, so it's very jittery, very washed out, but you can get the gist of things. It has a timestamp. It has date, time, and the GPS coordinates. And here I was saying that they probably need to repave this, and that's exactly what they did. Well, unfortunately, that means you're going to have a lot of assholes speeding down here. But if they're doing these guys' street, it's just a matter of time before they get to mine, right? I've been bitching enough. Put in about 3 tickets. I even put in a ticket against myself. I was like, sidewalk replacement. Well, Mr. Young, we've already got you scheduled for, we're going to redo your entire neighborhood. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Somehow they missed us in 2010. I wouldn't have had time to keep up with all this stuff in 2010. Oh, what happened in 2010? I think my dad had a stroke. Oh, he had the tumor in the stroke. I think that was 2010. I'm pretty damn sure of that. Yeah. Yeah, that was 20. No, it was 20. It was 2011. The Mavericks had just won the championship. Everybody was celebrating. He was going to go down to the thing, and he got him a shirt and a hat. Yeah, it was 2011. Feel sad about, melancholy about Father's Day? No. I realize that all these days that we have are gimmicks. Every day you can celebrate with your parents, that's Father's Day or Mother's Day. That's Parents' Day. You don't need a gimmicky holiday to remember the people that raised you. You know what that holiday's called? Fucking Saturday. Once a month, call them up, go visit them, something. Take them out to dinner. You don't have to wait for once a year and go buy them a useless electric razor or a bow tie that they'll never wear. You can just drop in. You can just call. You gotta wonder what was the sentiment behind that when they came out with these things. I heard originally, they were supposed to be just something that they did for parents that was supposed to be really nice, and then it just got heavily commercialized because, of course, it's America. That's what we do. We take something that's sweet and cool and niche, rip the soul out of it, and try to make a profit. So there's the walk light there. Still no buttons. That's how low priority people, people who walk are. All right, so now I got to see if I'm going to fire off that. It's not an angry letter, it's more of a concerned letter. This is what I was talking about. I put in a ticket. As we go down here, we'll see. So this is 3700 Shorecrest, the whole Greenbelt area. This is all owned by the city of Dallas. All of this, I'm walking on city property right now. And I put in a ticket about the branches pretty much just covering up the sidewalk over here. And so it went from, I sent it to code. Code said, we see that, we know it's city property. And I'm thinking, okay, we'll put it in a mower request. Nope. I'm gonna send that to Parks. Parks looks at it. Oh, you know what? We don't own that anymore. That's actually gonna be maintained by the Love Field Airport Association. What? Since when? So they're gonna wait until these guys, they already got their hands busy with building this trail And by the way, can you guys go over here and cut the grass and mow the lawn? Buck passing. So in the meantime, I'm just sitting here waiting. Yeah, it's still out here. This is not trimmed at all. So at least I can tell Marco, look, I got pictures, man. Still wet. With morning dew from something. This is the part of the walk where what? Sorry. Part of the walk where I guess my body is like producing something. All I know is as soon as I came around here, my glasses started fogging up. So it's extremely humid over here. The humidity is I'm amazed at how much this thing captures. I'm trying to hide my password. Probably just need to put one hand over the other. Oh, okay, I remember now. This was the skinny white chick that was playing the piano. All right. Like, it's a weird thing. Sometimes you're watching the YouTube videos and it's a woman who's very, very good at playing the piano. And so she's doing the video of her playing the piano. But she's wearing... she's practically naked while she's doing it. I was like, you know, you kind of had the views already with playing the piano. I was like, I didn't think you needed to go that extra route. And I was like, you know, it's not about you. I was like, no, I guess it isn't. I was like, I'm beautiful and smart. Watch me, worship me. I was like, I'll probably just listen to you while I'm walking. I'm not going to be watching the video the whole time where you're in basically a thong and high heels. And this is not, hey, this maybe it's just because of what you look at. It's like, no, this was me. I clicked on one video for Chrono Trigger, and then they give me one where a cosplayer tries to show off that she can play the piano. It's like, you know, my parents spent 12 years training me in classical piano. I know you can't see it from this camera. Oh yeah, I didn't see that the spider was there. I know you can't see it from this camera, but there's a lot of ripples coming off the water. Every time I come by here, there's a spider web that I get tangled in. The huntress, she's messy. I think that's what I'll call her, huntress. But I didn't see huntress out there. She might be on me right now. There's her webs all over the place. Typical broad, leaving her silk everywhere. Her silk linens. Spider chick. Yeah, huntress is a messy girl. So that's one of the things they talk about at the Friends of Bachman Lake meeting was they're still talking about putting the quick trip in here. The Bluffview people have been fighting them for decades, but it looks like it's gonna happen. They bought the property. They're waiting to get approved to build it. Is it needed? No. No, it's not needed. But Dallas is a car-centric city. So they're always going to put up another gas station. Guess I'm going to put in a mow request. This is getting ridiculous. I feel like I should be chopping through with a machete. Man, had I had my machete. No, I wasn't going to use it on the dog. The last thing on my mind was killing that dog. I was just trying to get him off me. I was like, let's get him off of me and then let's deal with it after that. And when I pull that pepper spray, that should have told me he is an aggressive dog. My guess is somebody's gone upside his head a couple times with some spray. I mean, this thing is just soaked. All the drunks are out now. That's right, baby. It's 2 a.m. Like the guy said, you ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. You gotta wonder who the first person that said that was. And it spread like wildfire. Was it something that was written in a show? Was it something that the person in the show just constantly heard because they were barflies? There's something so American about that statement. And it might not be American, it might be European too. I'm responsible for getting you drunk, but you are not my responsibility. I have served you inebriants and poisons for the last hours. Now it's time for you to go. I unleash you upon the world, and heaven help who receives you now. It could be worse. It could be leg day. I'll tell you one thing about this rabies shot. Maybe she didn't give it to me right. I don't know. But it's like I had it. Every other vaccine I've had, like COVID is a bitch. I get COVID, that my arm is dead for like, my arm is just a hurting mess for days. I say days, yeah, but it takes me, like I get it on like a Thursday or Friday. Oh, it used to be. It'd take me like 3 days to recover. Now, you know, I have about one night where I'm sleeping on and my arms get sore, and then I'm back to normal. Oh, the cockpit's still open, huh? Maybe their clock's slow. Like I know that the way it worked when I was, I had a couple of barflies drag me around and you know, get a taste of their world. And the way it worked was the bars would close at 2, and then you could wander over to these after hours spots And the after hours was open from like 3 till sunrise. And you go in there and everybody's still listening to music. It's usually a house that's converted into something. I don't really know what you would call the after hour spot. But you basically go in there and there's a giant tub, and there are people that have beers, just beers in bottles, and you just buy and you just pop one and drink it. And you put your money down on a wherever. You know, the weird thing about after hours clubs is you'd be out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and people be out there dancing in the streets, listening to music in their cars and whatnot, or they'd be in the house, just being there to be there, I guess. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. People who don't really, you know, they don't have enough energy to dance. They're not tired enough to go to sleep. It's where the guys are working for the last time to try to seal the deal with whatever girl they're gonna go home with that night, or you know, whoever they're trying to get a booty call with. Booty call, that's a completely different thing. But the bottom line is they're trying to have sex, and they're trying to seal the deal into the after hours club. She's tired, but honestly, like I said, not ready to go to sleep. She's sitting there weighing her options to see, I want to go home with somebody tonight, not this guy. Anyway, they'd be out there outside, cars bumping, people like clumsy drunk dancing in the streets, and then the cop would come by, and DVD would roll through there, flashlights, people would flip them off and yell and say, hey, and then the cop would just keep going. That was him. Let's say, hey, you guys need to break this up. Oh yeah, we'll get right on that, officer. Dallas is kind of weird in that there's an uneasy detente. It feels like at any moment things could break down into utter chaos and destruction, but they just don't. I think there's just mutually assured destruction. There's people that realize they have a lot to lose. There are people who work 10, 12 hours, 16-hour days, and they just want to come home and get some kind of shut-eye. They're too exhausted from work to get in any real trouble. I've seen about 3 or 4 cops tonight. But it's the ones I don't see. Like I said, they're aware of I'm there. And the lights, I'm trying to make them abundantly aware I am there. Like, yes, there's a guy walking around at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he might be the world's dumbest thief. Let's keep an eye on him. Debating whether I'm going to go to Bachman today. And it might not be much of a debate to have. I might wake up and it's just pouring rain. That'd be a hell of a way to break in the Insta 360. My first 360-degree video. and it's in miserable conditions. That sounds about right. That's my experience with Dallas and walking outside. I always get a brand new pair of new shoes, and on the week that I get the new shoes, the new white shoes, it rains. So it might rain for a whole week and you're like, oh, Wayman bought white shoes apparently. The aggravating thing is I have my rain gear ready to go. Okay, bring it on, Mother Nature. And nothing. Not a goddamn drop. And then there's other times where, like tonight, I'm too tired and I just too apathetic to try to put on any kind of rain gear. The helmet will just have to do. And so I'm out here, and just that happened to me 2 weeks ago, where I was tired. It was late at night. It wasn't going to be that long of a walk, and the whole time I was walking, it was just rain. It was good rain too, and I got good and soaked, and that was the whole point. It was hot enough to where being soaked with rain doesn't really bug me. The hardest part about walking in the rain and cold is trying to keep my legs dry. And I just couldn't see the point in investing in a good pair of rain pants. So mostly I just get some nylons. You know, usually the tracksuit pants are made out of, see, there we go, or Weaver. And I'd have got her pretty good. What happens if I tap on it? I shouldn't be teasing her. Somebody said, what the hell is he doing? I was like, it's what you guys don't see when you don't walk out late at night. A lot of times I wish I had the ability to see in infrared. Then I can avoid stuff like that, because spider webs are very visible in infrared light.